It's the phone, 45-year resident of Yorktown, 2635 Dunning Drive. Also president of the United Taxpayers of Yorktown and our organizations that keep the taxes down. So my couple of questions will be, what are the solutions you have besides raising the water taxes? Okay, there must be other solutions. I attend the budget hearings for many years, and a new way of taking out of the special districts money to lower the tax rate and the tax levy. So my question to you, I've said this when you first started going into the surpluses of all the special districts. And I said, someday it's going to go and bite you at the end, because it's not the town board's money. Everybody pays into the special districts, and the people in those districts, that's their money. So I just heard you say that we had a reduction in water tax. Did we have a reduction in water tax since you've been, you said we had a decrease in water tax. Yes or no?
I'll answer all your questions at the end.
Okay. Did you take millions of dollars out of the surplus fund of the War Department to lower taxes? That's two questions, yes or no. Okay? Now, my third question is the surplus that's there now. I'd like to ask Dave Rambo.
You're addressing the board.
How much? Well, you don't know. He knows. All right, I'll do it this way. Dave, how much is in the surplus in the Water Department as we speak?
Not now.
No.
Not now?
Just finish
Ask your questions and sit down, and then he will respond.
Well, then I'm going to get up again once you answer the
Fine.
questions, right? Okay, that's fine.
This was sticking to protocol.
Yeah. Well, if you let me talk, that'd be great. If you don't, nothing's different. Now, this is the Consolidated Yorktown Water, where is it? District. It's not the Kitchewan Water District. Now, another question. Why isn't the water rates, if you have to have an increase, not in the Kitchewan, but only in the Yorktown Consolidated Water District? That's another. You writing this down so you can answer the questions? I'll see. Okay, so that's a big question here. Now, so what are the solutions? If you have surplus money, you'll let me know. Dave will let me know, into the water district. Can you use that money to, I haven't heard what you're spending the money on. I heard a joint waterworks, I heard this later on, okay? So what is the expense that you need to raise the water rates from $5 to $6.25? Okay. So, let's see, I did that. Surplus is going to answer the question. Solutions we don't know, but raising taxes. Okay, my next question is, after you answer, I can come up?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Good evening, Susan Siegel. First, let me say I support the increase in the water charges. I think it's going to obviously very necessary, but my comments tonight go beyond that. I want to express my concern over what I believe has been the mismanagement of the water district finances over the past 4 years. Mismanagement because key financial decisions have been made for political reasons and without regard for the district's long-term financial stability. If you look at the numbers over the last 4 years, it's very clear that beginning with the 2013 budget, The financial can has been kicked down the road. And I'm also concerned that what has happened in the water district should be a warning to this board and to all of our taxpayers as to what could happen to our other budget funds. Some of you may have seen Sunday's Journal News and the article about the Bedford School District, which is now facing an $8 million budget gap and is now in the throes of deciding what programs to cut. If you didn't see the article, I'd like to just read a few excerpts. We've had in the district about a $5 to $6 million structural gap every year. So basically what that means, going into each year, our expenses have been higher than our revenue. The district has been relying on its savings or unassigned fund balance every year to tide it over. Moody's downgraded the district's bond rating primarily because reserves were continually being used to balance the budget. Last year, property taxes could have gone up as much as 1.7% under the state's tax cap, but the board put up a budget with a 0.6% increase. Had the larger levy been used, the district would have received an additional $1.3 million. Bedford isn't the only either school district or municipality with problems. About three weeks ago, the state comptroller did an audit of the city of Troy, and it called Troy's finances in perilous position, and this is quoting from the comptroller's press release. Troy's chronic operating deficits and dangerously low levels of rainy day funds are due to the continued reliance on reserves and non-recurring revenues as a means to finance routine expenditures.
I don't want to be, and you're welcome to go on.
I'd like to go on.
But we have a public hearing on water rates.
Yes, and this is all related. This is all related. Excuse me.
It is not pertinent. So
it is all pertinent to water rates. Okay, and I will get to that. Okay. In many ways, Yorktown has been following the same reckless playbook as Bedford did. We have used fund balance to paper over our operating deficits, and we did not tax up to the full amount allowed by the tax levy. Yorktown's problem started with the 2013 and 2014 budgets, when, for political reasons, certain taxes, very specifically the water tax, was cut by 40%. That gets to a point that Mr. Sifone asked. It went from about $19.85 to $11.70 per thousand. We've used excessive fund balance to reduce the tax levy. Over a 2-year period, $900,000 was used. At the time, the supervisor called the reduced tax levy a, quote, remarkable, close quote, feat. What he didn't say then, and what we need to acknowledge today, is that by reducing the tax levy in 2013 and 14, he created structural problems for future budgets, problems we're starting to see now, just as Bedford has seen. Basically, in order to stay within the tax levy and the tax cap without cutting services, the town has become permanently addicted to using its fund balance, and I'll get to that for the water district. Fund balances don't magically grow, and as we've seen with the water district fund balance, they can go down significantly. Without going through a lot of numbers, I have some charts I'd like to show. I spoke with Tom, our cameraman, before, and he told me for this to be visible, I have to show it to the board and not to the audience, so my apologies to the audience. But the charts are available on my website, yorktownbettergovernment.org. This is a chart that compares the changes in the budget 2014 compared to 2016. And you can see this is the difference between the budgets. The increase in expenses, revenue didn't increase very much. The tax levy went up very small, but this is where the increase in the use of fund balance went up. I'll just show it to you. Okay. For 4 years, the water district has had operating deficits, and they've been filled by using our fund balance. This is what the water district has looked like. Okay. The green lines are the expenses. You can see them going up. The red line is the revenue. And the purple line at the bottom, that's the operating deficit. Last year, in 14, we had to take $1.2 million from the fund balance to balance it. This year, based on preliminary numbers, looks like we could be as much as $2 million shy. So something's going to have to be taken from the Water District fund balance to balance the 215 books. Over 3 years, 12, 13, and 14, we have taken $2.2 million from the Water District fund balance. And if we take, let's say, about $1 million to balance off 15, that means a 46% reduction in the district's fund balance over 4 years. In fact, the fund balance has reached such a point where, when we learned a few weeks ago about this unexpected expense to pay our 49% share of the new water storage tank at the Joint Waterworks, we're estimating the cost for Yorktown will be between $1 and $1.5 million. We're going to have to bond for that rather than take it out of the shrunken fund balance. And when we bond, that's going to be another cost, another expense on the following year's budget. Okay? This is a chart that shows what's happened to the Water District Fund. The balance started the end of 2011. Ed Sifone, these are some of the questions you asked. A little over $7,000. The end of 2014, it dropped to under $5 million. I'm sorry, I said $7 million. The end of 2014, it dropped to under $5 million. And if we have to take some money out for 15, it could drop to under $4 million. Just look at the bars and you can see the drop because we've had to subsidize. And part of this has been because we cut the water tax in 2013 and 14. We lost $900,000 every year. And guess what? By increasing the water charge now by 25%, $1.25 per thousand, we're going to get back roughly the same amount of money now that we cut in 2013. So the time has come to stop kicking the can down the road. Okay, we don't have many choices. There are only three options for raising revenue for the water district. We have the water tax on our assessed value. We have the user charge, that's on our consumption. And then we have the fund balance. In 2012, the blue was the taxes, roughly 27%. The fund balance, this very tiny sliver, was 3%. Look at 2015. Taxes revenue dropped by 12%. That's because we lost $900,000 a year. But 23% was fund balance. Just what Bedford did. We got into trouble. You can look at the blue and the green, and you can see how by reducing the taxes in 2013 and 14, we've lost revenue, and it's been made up by using the fund balance.
The public.
So where do we go from here? Okay. We don't have very many choices. It's difficult to get the tax back because we're tied with the tax levy. Because by lowering the tax levy in 13 and 14, that lowers our future tax levy. And so we have problems with that. So we forget about raising the taxes only a few pennies. That leaves the water tax increase, okay, and the use of the fund balance. But there's a limit to how much you can take on the fund balance. I would hope that this board has done a projection to see how long that $6.25 is going to generate enough revenue so that we can have balanced budgets without this over-reliance on our fund balance, because I don't think we can keep taking it down on the fund balance. And I was glad to hear that you're going to automatically, that as part of this legislation, you'll automatically add in the increase for whatever the Northern Westchester District puts on to us. But I have, and it's sort of ironic, I think it was Mr. Meltz who brought up the water meter project. I'm not going to go into any detail about that. This is not the place. But that water meter project, I was here and I heard the analysis when I was sitting on this board. And I have to disagree with you, Supervisor Grace, because I think the analysis did show that if all 10,000 customers had meters that read 100% accurate, that there's a potential for generating about $500,000 more in revenue, plus we could cut expenses. And